Alright, what it do, cuz welcome back to Put 'em On, the podcast where we put you on to comics and creatives and beyond, and also get their opinion on who should be put on in the game. You know, who else you guys should know about. Today I've got a great guest, very funny, a good friend of mine. It's so nice to have her back in New York City.
Yeah.
She is a comic, an author, a writer, Emmy-nominated author.
Emmy-nominated writer.
Right, writer.
Yeah.
Chloé Hilliard.
Hey.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Jourdain. Your place is very nice. This is his real place, if you're watching. He has great taste in furniture and home decor.
Oh, thanks. Well, I just don't give away the address. You know.
Oh, I'm not giving away the address, but I'm just saying.
People me on the internet and everything.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, no,
people
that's
don't show up. You know, they see I got a TV and shit.
A mounted TV.
You know, times is hard. I did it myself, too.
Oh, really?
No TaskRabbit.
Oh, so you're very handsy because you're from the country.
Yeah. See, I had the last place I was at, I had somebody come and install it, and I just watched him, and I was like, I can do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it myself this time, you know, save money.
Yeah.
You know, pick it up. I was sweating because it was, you know, it's a good sized TV, so I had to put it up there myself.
You didn't even have somebody to hold the other side for you?
I tried, and then like I put it up there with them, and then it was still like loose in the back or something, and then they left. And I was like, man, I gotta have to take it down and put it back up again. So I just thugged it out.
Listen,
you know,
we need people like you because who knows what's going to happen in this country. We need people
right.
who actually know how to fix and do things because we are living in the internet. And when shit hits the fan, you got to be able to like roll your sleeves up and get some tools out.
Yeah, that's
you're gonna be a hot asset when shit crumbles.
Yeah, that's why I keep my friends from back home in North Carolina.
Yeah,
you know, I keep them close. Like I got a homie that, you know, he'll send to the group chat just projects he's doing around the crib.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he remodeled his whole bathroom and, you know, built out his whole home gym by himself, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, yeah, shit goes down. They live on a farm. Like, that's where I can go.
Oh, you gotta get that MapQuest printout.
Right, yeah. He's got a few blickies on him, so I'm like, all right.
Yeah, we all need that. We all need somebody who is, like, in touch with nature, the land, and, like, a workshop.
Yeah, because I think it's a wrap for you know, Gen Z and beyond if shit goes down, you know, because they've been just dancing.
Yeah,
you know, they've been dancing on the internet.
You don't know how to do anything,
right? Figuring out, you know, allergy intolerances and stuff like that. So, you know, you need a little bit of you know, just closed-mindedness if you want to survive.
Yeah, people who are like, I don't give a fuck about no TikTok, no dance, no nothing. Right. I know I just trim my hedges with my bare hands. Mm-hmm. My kid knows how to skin a deer.
Yeah.
He's 4 years old. We out here living.
Yeah, if you got mullets in your bloodline, you know, we may not be like kicking it right now.
Yeah.
You know, but like if things go down, if Insurrection Part 2 come around.
Because I feel like you are the good token black friend. Like, I feel like you are a lot of people's token black friend.
Yeah. You know, NBC and ABC, I need them to think the same thing so I can get this check once the strikes go down, you know? But I am, like, I definitely have been, like, the one black friend in the circles before where, you know, I get the questions and everything. And I'm like, hey, y'all gotta branch out. Y'all gotta do some hiring or something. Because I don't want all this to fall on me. It's a lot of pressure.
It is, because your answers are unique to who you are as a person, not to who you are as a black man.
Right, and then there's some things I might not know.
What don't you know, Jourdain?
I don't know, but I'm just saying. Sometimes they might be like, you know, what's up with this black aspect? And I'm like, bro, I don't know. And then next thing you know, they checking your blackness. I'm like, I'm the only one you got anyway. Like, you ain't even a member of the tribe.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of pressure, but I believe that you're going to hold it down. And also think about it this way. If you do make it down there when shit hits the fan and you're now in the compound with them, you get to rewrite black history.
Yo.
You get to tell it the way, and you should teach, you know, I know they don't want CRT being taught, but if it's JRT, then you can go down there and make it your own.
JRT? Damn, what would be some of my teachings in JRT?
I don't know.
Man, I gotta really think on that.
You better start your lesson plan,
figure out what the JRT empire
of course
is gonna be. Because right now the JRT empire is Joe Rogan theory, and we gotta switch that up.
You got to reclaim that.
You know, not to come at, you know, the #1 podcast in the world 2 episodes in, but we starting off hot here.
Stakes is high.
We starting off hot here. Don't know what y'all about. Chloe, how long you just got back to New York for a little. You just decided to grace us with your presence.
Absolutely.
Again, because you've got a story. You've been in different lanes and avenues throughout your career, having switch ups and everything like that.
Yeah.
From being a journalist and getting into comedy, a New York lifer until one day I was on Instagram and I saw Chloe dewy skin popping selfie on Instagram with sunshine and palm trees behind her.
Yeah.
In the height of the pandemic.
Yep.
And she was gone. She was like, I'm going back to Cali. She went to California, and I was like, okay, good for Chloe.
Yep.
Then maybe about a year later, I saw blonde hair. I said, oh, she gone. She's never coming back. She's never coming back. LeBron's never going back to the Cavs. Chloe's never coming back to New York.
No, I'm not.
It's
I'm
done.
sorry. Yeah. I actually was just thinking, I was like, I've been coming here for the past couple months.
Yeah.
Because my job ended. I had some time and then the strike happened, so I really had time. And I was like, I'll go back to New York, but this is my last time coming here for for a little bit. Okay. Not like a little bit. I'll be back in November because I'm doing the City Winery in New York, so that'll be like my first big show here in like a long time.
In November.
November 4th.
November 4th.
Yeah, so I'll be back for that, but I've been coming back here pretty consistently, and I'm like, all right, I think I got my fill.
Because you're born and raised here in New York, right?
All my family's from here. I've never lived anywhere else. All my family's still here. I moved there to LA December 2020 during the pandemic.
Wow.
And it's been great. I actually wonder, I was like, oh man, I always thought about moving to California. It was always in the back of my mind. I knew eventually, like as a writer and producer, I was going to have to end up going. And then when the pandemic happened and I was not about to go on the road during the pandemic, I was like,
right.
Actually, it wasn't even me who made the final. I made the final decision, but like I had a lot of people telling me like, you need to move to LA.
Really?
And I just couldn't ignore it anymore.
Is that support or is that just like get out of here?
No, it was support. It's like I was working. I mean, talking about somebody putting them on. Like I was working during the pandemic remotely for Larry Wilmore. He had a show on Peacock.
Okay.
And I had met him previously when he was hosting the nightly show, which came on Comedy Central after the Daily Show.
Right.
And so I just had done it as like a panelist, as a comedian. Mm-hmm. So we met a couple times. And then he launched a new show. It was on Peacock, like right when Peacock just started.
Right.
And it was during the election cycle of Hillary versus Donald Trump.
Oh.
And so it was a late night political talk show with like, each episode was about like a political platform that was important at the time. So like George Floyd and like immigration, all that stuff. And that's the stuff I love and, talking about as a former journalist. I was like, oh yeah, I can write comedically on this show. And we worked remotely for like 6 months. And towards the end of it, everybody in the room was like, you need to move to California. Like, stop playing. You need to move. And I was like, I don't know.
Because you're doing all this over Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
And this is 2020?
This is like August 2020 to December 2020.
Okay, so right in the middle of the pandemic. Like, we're, pandemic strong.
Yeah, and so when Larry's show was getting ready to end, everybody in the room was like, you got to move to California, right? And I was like, really? It was like, you have to move. And I was like, I don't know. I'm waiting for something to bring me there. Because that was always my stipulation. Like, I want something to bring me to California. Like a job offer. Delusional. Because that's not how it works.
It's so funny as New Yorkers, like how that is our stipulation often. It's like, I'm only going to California if I'm brought to California. Mm-hmm. But California, I mean, we're literally saying, I'm only going there. Sunshine and happiness isn't good enough for us. There's so many reasons to move to California.
Well, that's eventually what happened. Like the show, Larry Wilmore's show finished December 4th, or Friday, December 4th, and I moved to California that Saturday, December 5th. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. And so I did. And the truth is, like when you go to California, especially working in the industry, you do have to just physically be there because everybody else is physically there. Yeah. The people who are talented and the people who are not talented are there. So that's why you have to physically be there, because when you try to get a meeting with somebody and all of that other stuff, it's like, you're at the whim of them because they love to cancel a meeting, they love to reschedule you, and they don't want to hear, oh, I'm only here for a week. They're like, well, then you don't really want to be here because somebody just packed up their car and drove cross country, and they are going to be at my doorstep every single day for an opportunity, and you want me to change my schedule to accommodate you?
Right.
No, that's not how it works. And also when you're there, then people can refer you, because things will come to me. Every time I would go to California for like a short-term thing, I would get offered other jobs, and I would say, no, I got to go back on the road. I got to go do colleges, or all my family's in New York, and at the time, my grandmother, we had just moved her up here from South Carolina after my grandfather passed, so I was a part of the caregiving team for that. So I was like, I got these things, responsibilities. And then when I was working on that show, I was like, okay, you know what? It's a pandemic. I don't want to think about like what could happen if I don't take this opportunity. Like if the world crumbles, I was turning 40 at the time. I'm like, if this is it, let me see what else could happen.
You was writing in your Moesha journal.
Yeah, I was like, dear diary, shit has gone left.
Yeah.
And so I packed up and I took my dog and we went to California.
Wow. And no regrets at this point?
No, it's been amazing. I'm very blessed and fortunate, but I also am aware that everything that I had done in my life up until that point led me to be in a position where I could go there and thrive. The relationships I met with people who can vouch for me, the things that I did for myself. Like during the pandemic, I started a late night talk show called Chloé Across America at my kitchen table. Yeah. And I was doing that show, producing it by myself, booking the guests, making the graphics, doing the editing, release it as a podcast. And I had my dear friend who's no longer with us, Tim Moore, who was like my right-hand man. It was just he and I doing the controls. And I did it 4 nights a week. And then when I got the Larry Wilmore show, I reduced it to 1 night a week just because I had, a job.
Yeah, it's getting paid.
And but doing that show at my dining room table is what helped me get the Larry Wilmore show, because when they interviewed me, they were like, wait, so you've been producing a show at night by yourself for like 6 weeks? Every night? And I'm like, yeah, I just do it for fun. They were like, oh yeah, you can do this job.
See, that's that work that gets work. That's a perfect like opportunity as far as like put them on goes. Just the theme of this show.
Yeah.
So like backtracking a bit before you get to Larry Wilmore and all that kind of stuff. I mean, even before comedy, with journalism, that's like that was your first passion, I'm assuming?
Yeah, journalism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, first of all, did you go to college and graduate with a journalism degree and all that kind of stuff? Where'd you go?
NYU.
Okay, damn. See. Wow. I've only heard tales of NYU like in the distance.
Oh yeah, no, NYU.
How was your experience there?
Well, I'm from New York, so it wasn't like I moved away.
Right.
It was just like I was 20 minutes from my house, my apartment that I grew up in, right across the bridge. Mm-hmm. I played basketball there, so I got to live on campus. Oh, so wow. I lived right there off of Union Square, and then up by like Washington Square Park and Union Square. Those were where my dorms were. So
you would yam on somebody and then write an article about how they just got posterized after?
Yeah.
You'd be like,
I wasn't that great of a basketball player. I was good. Yeah. I was a come off the bench, deep bench.
Yeah.
Team morale leader.
Team morale. You guys got this.
Yeah. I'm giving them like tips on the sideline, like, oh, she weak, she ain't got no left. Who got this girl?
That was a nice dime.
Yeah, but I think about like basketball. Like basketball served the purpose for me. Like I started playing late, so I wasn't like a naturally gifted athletic person. I didn't start till I was in 9th grade when I got to high school, and I was like, I want some fun shit to do. And I went to go sign up. I really wanted to do volleyball because I was like, oh, that's girly, and like all the boys like the volleyball girls. So I was like, oh, let me get out here.
They all got the dunks.
They got the dunks, right? But see, the thing with me is I got thighs and I couldn't be wearing them panty shorts. So I was like, I don't think I could play volleyball. And then I got saved by the basketball coach. I was about to sign up for volleyball, and the basketball coach was like, no, you should play basketball. And I was like, no. Okay.
She said, come with me.
Yeah, come over here. And that's how I ended up playing basketball.
Wow. See, I never got to play a sport growing up.
Got to? What do you mean? You were not allowed?
Well, it wasn't even so much as allowed. See, my parents split up when I was like 5, and my dad moved an hour and a half away. So the way our time was split, how I go see him on the weekends, just with that drive and the commute and everything, it just wasn't going to work out. Like I wanted to play baseball. That was my sport. But my dad would have me out on the court playing tennis. Yeah, which, I mean, it's still hitting a ball, but I was like, this isn't fulfilling for me, you know? But funny enough, I was pretty good at it. Like, I picked it up pretty naturally. And to this day, he says, like, if I kept with tennis, I wouldn't be doing comedy.
Yeah, but you didn't love tennis.
I didn't love tennis.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Every day I was like, I wish this was a baseball.
Oh,
but
what was his reason for tennis over baseball?
I think because tennis is actually like a social sport as far as like when you become an adult, like you can actually make, just friends playing tennis. Like you can make, connections playing tennis because, I don't know, just people play tennis for whatever reason. Like it doesn't need 9 people like baseball does.
That's true.
It's just like, oh, you play tennis, let's go out there and, just hit a couple balls.
So he was thinking about your social life as an adult.
Yeah, he was thinking about that, but also he just loves tennis.
Oh, okay.
Like my dad is a tennis fan. I used to get so pissed off growing up because, we had one television and didn't have cable. And, this was back in the days when TV came with the pliers. So you had to turn, that shit. And, tennis would be on all day. So I'd want to watch, Animaniacs.
Oh,
and,
man.
Pinky and the Brain on Saturday mornings, but the whole television would be Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi.
Yeah, my parents love tennis too. Yeah, my parents love tennis too, but
all day.
But I had a television in my room.
And tennis is the longest sport in the world, dude.
Forever.
People think baseball is long and boring. Like, I mean, I get it. I get that, that sentiment. But man, tennis lasts forever. Because I'd be like, okay, so once they finish this, they're done. He's like, no. They got to do that 6 more times. And then they have to do that 3 more times.
And you would just hope that somebody would be out in like 3 sets because you'd be like, I cannot go to 5.
For real. They'd be like, this is a legendary match. I'd be like, man.
So does he still feel that way about tennis?
Loves tennis. In fact, my dad will be here this week.
For the U.S. Open?
For the U.S. Open. We're going to the U.S. Open. Now it's our like father-son annual little thing that we do.
So do you enjoy watching it
I enjoy it now. I enjoy it now. I may not keep up with it as much as he does, but there are, once it gets like deep into like tournaments, I'll throw on the semifinals and finals and stuff like that. And I enjoy going to the U.S. Open. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Just go out there.
That was
$13 on hot dog.
My first job was at the U.S. Open.
Really?
Yeah. Selling $5 pizzas, which are really just like a round flatbread with like 4 slices of tomato and a sprinkling of cheese. And for pepperoni, it was $5.50. This is in 1990, I want to say 95 or 96.
Yeah. Just selling.
And a hot ass, it was a food stand with a real pizza oven behind us, even though we was doing like these little flatbread. Like it was
Lunchables.
Yeah, legit Lunchables. Hot ass, a pizza oven behind us, no AC. It'll be like 90 degrees plus the pizza oven behind us.
What made you decide like, all right, I'm gonna go to the U.S. Open?
Well, my dad ran. He was a part of like the concessions, so he would come in and like build up. Like he ran it, so he would build up the concessions, and then what they would do is they would hire different like nonprofit organizations for like teenagers who needed jobs, and so you would get your nonprofit would get a contract, and then you would get teens their like first summer job.
Wow.
And I remember I worked there for 2 weeks and it was long. I did the day shift, so I would get there maybe like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, whatever it was, like 8 in the morning, and then be done at like 4 or 5. I did it for like 2 weeks before I started high school, and I made $1,500, and I was like, I made
$1,500, yo.
Yeah.
That's infinite money in high school years.
Yeah. I was like, I'm getting a new Air Masters with a bubble in it, like.
Back when like Nike, when you could get the Nikes.
Yeah.
Now, you got to know somebody. You got to make a blood offering.
Ridiculous.
The sneakers app just
ridiculous.
It laughs at you.
I know.
Like, are you a sneakerhead still?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you've avoided it.
I've avoided it.
Especially with our circle, the people that you're friends with.
No. My group of friends, my shout out to 6 Foot Nothing comedy crew. They were the first ones that bought me my first pair of Jordans. They collectively got together and bought me my first ones, patent leather ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I dogged them during I was wearing them. They were like, you're not supposed to wear them. I'm like,
they were like, these are shoes, yo. What you want me to do with them?
I'm on the road. I'm fucking Wisconsin with these bitches on.
Oh my God, just running through cornfields with the patent leathers on.
Yeah.
They're like, we spent good money. We spent $20 on that.
I know, right?
To get you these shoes.
Yep.
You out here wearing them?
Dogging them.
How dare you? No, yeah, that's a serious thing. You see somebody get a crease in their shoe and it party.
I know. That's why I'm like, I can't be that attached to a sneaker.
You better off.
I think also because I played basketball, so it's like I don't. It's a part of what my day. Like it's not like.
Yeah, I can't imagine like just even basketball players being so particular about their shoes. I mean, some people just have like crazy collections where it's like, I'm preserving them.
If it's like a limited edition, if it's like a super high end designer, like I get it. But like basketball sneakers, also I'm a woman now, so like now all these women are wearing ones with everything. Yeah. But like I have a big foot, so I can't be just wearing it with like a mini skirt. Like that doesn't look good.
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, going back to those, you're slinging them pizzas.
Yeah.
Right? And then you go to NYU and then you're getting into journalism. What are those early days of journalism looking like for you as you're like, trying to break stories, find stories? Like, is it like once you're out of school, you're like, I don't even know the path of like graduating into getting a job into being a journalist. Like how do you break that wall down?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a journalist pretty early on, like probably about junior high school. I think my first journalism class was like an elective in junior high school. And I was like, I think I want to do this because I was the kid who was bullied, who was tall for her age, big for her age, and people had so many like preconceived notions about me. And for me, I felt like journalism was a way for me to like help other people tell their story and document their experiences, because I felt like I had always been so overlooked. And also to take, accountability is like I also made sure I was overlooked, because when you are bullied as a child, you don't want to feed the monster. So you kind of like retreat back so you aren't a target. And so for me, journalism was a way for me to express myself, for me to observe and like document the things that I saw, because I was very good at just like being in the mix and seeing things. Yeah. And I knew that journalism was what I really wanted to do. And then like Living Single came on, and I saw Khadijah James running her own magazine. And I was like, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna run my own magazine. And when I applied to colleges, I knew I only wanted to go to a school that had a journalism program. And so I had applied to like Temple and Syracuse and University of Maryland, because at the time, National Association of Black Journalists was like housed there. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I was playing basketball, and the NYU coach came to see another player on the opposite team, and I shut her down, and it was like, who's that? And then that's how I ended up going to NYU.
Wow.
And after NYU, I only played 2 years at NYU, which I think was very important for me, because those last 2 years of college, it allowed me to get internships, because I didn't have to worry about playing basketball. And so I had time to intern. I interned at the Source magazine. I ran an independent hip hop newspaper.
Wait, we just can't skim over interning at the Source.
Yes.
And that's iconic Black literature right there.
Yeah. I interned and worked there. I went back and got a job and worked there for.
What years were you at the Source?
I interned there my senior year of college, which was 2001, 2002.
Okay.
And then I went back there in like 2004 to like 2006 or 7.
Those are good
so
times.
I was there. No, that last part was bad. That was when shit went left. That was when the Dave and Benzino got kicked out because they defaulted on a loan, and I'm at work.
That's what I'm saying. That's
when that shit was like thick.
01, everything. That's like I'm entering like middle school at that time.
Oh, so that's like the Eminem beef and all
of
that
like
stuff.
all that stuff. So you got to see all that. Like, were you writing like stories about that? Like,
well,
or like helping people kind of?
No, I was there. I mean, by the time I got back there as like on the editorial staff hired, they had already pretty much like been blacklisted because they were going so hard. They kept going so hard at Dr. Dre and Eminem.
Yeah, like for because also too. See, I wasn't really allowed to like dive into rap music much as a kid. My parents were like super strict on that stuff. I mean, I didn't own my first rap album till like high school. That was Kanye's Late Registration.
Damn.
Right? So, and it's like I would hear stuff, you would hear the radio hits or, hear the kid, everybody was doing the grinding beat on the table.
Yeah.
If you didn't know the grinding beat, it's like, why are you even sitting at the lunch table right now? But, that beef and stuff that was going on during those times, like what was it like working in an environment where it's like, yo, we have to cover this kind of shit, like we have to
I mean, by the time I was there, it was
It's
kind of
TMZ for rap.
yeah, it was kind of ridiculous at that point because it was like it's so clear that y'all just have an axe to grind and y'all are making us write stories about shit that no one cares about. Like, when I was there, they were at war with Funkmaster Flex. They hated like every New York radio. It was like everything was like we gotta take them down. It's like, well, you just don't like them and they don't like you, and it's not like some political grandiose scheme. And so it was like we're kind of spending a lot of our time and energy on this. But what I did was I didn't focus so much on the music there. I did like the culture and the politics. So I was writing about like Senator Barack Obama before he even ran for president. I was writing about like Hurricane Katrina. I was writing about like other things that were dealing with us because at the time we didn't have the internet. We had the internet. I'm not old like that, but we didn't have it wasn't social media. It wasn't on your phone. So people were waiting to, we would work on an article and then 3 months later it would be on the newsstand. So we had a 3-month lead up time. So now imagine if you had to wait 3 months to get verification on an article or an
like, yo, there's a black person running for president?
Yeah.
So, I've been running for 6 months.
Yeah. So it was just a very different time. And I'm very grateful for my time at The Source. Some of the best journalists that I've ever worked with were at The Source magazine. And now a lot of them now work in Hollywood, so I'm seeing them now as producers and showrunners and directors and all that stuff.
Wow. Who gave you your first opportunity like in finding those avenues like to feel like you were really doing a job like as a journalist? Like who was the ones that made like who did you make connections with early on where it's like, okay, like this feels legit now?
I would say so I was, this is so crazy, but like for like a hot second, I was like Kevin Powell's assistant. He fired me and then hired me back and then fired me again. Because I took too long to transcribe a Chris Rock article.
Too long
to transcribe the tape, because back then you gotta, it's funny, I just had to get something transcribed. I just like uploaded the file to like a site and then they got it back to me in 12 hours and I paid like $1 a minute for the transcription.
So
but back in the day, it was like, press play on a recorder, type. Wait, what do you say? Rewind, press play, type. And so
this lady taking too long. Transcribe this article.
Yep. So Kevin Powell, who was an amazing journalist, one of the first writers and editors at Vibe magazine. Kevin Powell also was on The Real World. So I don't know if you remember the first Real World in New York City.
Man, no.
Yeah, look up the first Real World. He was on that and he became a notable hip hop journalist and wrote a lot of amazing articles. So I was so happy to work with him because I looked up to him as a journalist.
Yeah.
And I fucked up. I mean, I was slow. It was on me. So I got fired twice. But that gave me a taste of how serious and how important people take the job. I think when you hear hip hop journalism, you think it's not serious.
Right.
And I think now because of bloggers and beefs and all this other stuff and podcasters, rappers who think they're journalists asking dumbass questions, we think, anybody could do it. But back then it was no, there is a prestige and integrity that, a reliability that you need to have. And so that got me to be I gotta be on my shit.
Right, because it can easily be misconstrued as just gossip.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not what it was back then.
Right.
And so I would say that was the first taste of being okay, this is a real journalist. I respect him. I need to get my shit together. And then after that, I would say Eric Parker. He was an editor. He was a music editor at The Source, and that's how I got my internship. I was volunteering with a youth group, the New York Association of Black Journalists, which I did when I was in high school because I knew I wanted to be a journalist. And they had the summer program where you would do a broadcast and you would do a newspaper as a group. And so actual journalists would mentor the teens in the program, and I had done that for 2 years. And so I was now in college and I came to help out, and we went to a field trip to The Source magazine.
Yeah.
And one of the students was, I'm in college and they're in high school.
Everybody getting fighting stance. We're going to The Source.
Yep. And so one of the teens in the program was how do you get an internship? And Eric Parker, who was a music editor at the time, was you send your resume. And I was well, actually, I sent my resume and you never got back to me. And he was really, let's talk. And then he hired me after that as his intern. And now he's a award-winning director, and he did the Nas documentary and won like an Oscar for it. And you know, he's in a documentary filmmaker, and so he's still like low-key my mentor, even though like we're both grown-ass adults. But you know, I'm working on a project and I'm like, hey, give me some tips. So for sure, like,
could you see yourself making a documentary?
Yeah, I'm working on one now. Yeah. I'm on the early stages of one independently that I'm working on, and that's another reason why I've been coming out to New York is to like meet with the subject and like, you know, get everything in. It's very, very early. Documentaries take a really long time, but the way I look at it, it's like a documentary. It's like writing a feature article on someone, but it's just on camera.
Right. I'm always like baffled by documentaries where they just have this footage. Where I'm like, where'd y'all find this? And also too, like, how do you have the wherewithal to record somebody in their early stages where you're just like, oh yeah, they're gonna make it?
Oh, you like the Kanye thing?
Yeah, like it's so weird. Like any of it, they're not even just Kanye though. Anybody.
But you have an idea. I think we don't think about recording like that now because everybody records themselves.
Yeah.
But when you meet someone who's dynamic, like if you met a Kanye and you're in the studio with him for like 8 hours a night and you're like, this dude is different. Like, I think we should probably be recording this. Like, even seeing them working in their environment, like, you're like, I think this is special. You kind of get a sense of it.
Somebody just turns into a specimen at that point. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so wild, like...
But some people like to document themselves. Like, I need to do it more.
I mean, everybody documents themselves at this point. Yeah. Almost to a point where it's like, hey, chill out.
Well, I think it's the quality of the documentation that's the problem. Because if you're thinking ahead, like, I need to record this because I'm special, but you're not doing anything special, then that's a problem.
Right. But I mean, it's just interesting now to see, like, the social media aspect of it all where... You know, I'm guilty of it. I'll post like the gym video or whatever.
Cause you out here trying to get,
you know, I'm just trying
the ladies,
trying to throw people through walls. But I'm just saying, like, where it's like, this is a day in the life of XYZ or whatever, where people start their day, like they'll set up the tripod at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's
do
insane.
The whole thing, like you'll see it with like, you know, the mom blogs, all that kind of stuff. Where I'm just like, damn, what is this? But people buy into it.
Yeah, but they're doing it because they know that it can lead to like a partnership deal or like something like that. It's not like like I watched the Andy Warhol Diaries, which I thought was really interesting because he basically had a woman who he talked to every day and told his story. Like the day before I went and did Jordan's podcast, and then I went and had a show and I had dinner with this person. He would call her every day and she would type his diary.
Right.
And so now we have this like archive of everything that he did, you know, and they use that to make a documentary. And so I think you as an individual have to have the foresight to be like, I should probably document some of these things, or I'm in a moment where it would be erased. And I always get envious when I see like old like family videos, and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers all had like camcorders and like
that's what I'm saying though. That's why I'm like, where y'all, like, people have the equipment. Like I have some, I'm sure my family, we have some tapes laying around, me playing or whatever. But I'm like, who's keeping them? It's a mom's job. Like, moms keep it. Yeah. Dads will clear out a garage and moms will go through the roof. That might be me projecting.
No.
but yo, like, moms will hold on to all that stuff.
My mom is trying to give me my stuff now. She's like, I have all this stuff from when you were in like kindergarten. Do you want it? I'm like, oh, what do I want this of?
But I'm just saying, it's like, how did, like, every documentary I'm watching, I'm like, where the fuck did y'all get all this footage from? How did y'all document so much stuff? How did you film all this? How did you keep it, preserve it? Like, you know, now the iPhone, it'd be like, you out of space. You want to upgrade to $10 a month? And I'm like, fuck you, iPhone. I had gotten a allotted amount of food pics and nudes that I can keep on here.
Not the nudes.
What phone don't got nudes on it?
Well, where do you put them? Do you hide them in a? Do you hide them?
Hide them.
Yeah, you gotta hide them.
Gotta hide them.
Yeah, but you gotta eventually take them off your phone at some point and like store them.
And then upload them to a server.
No, you gotta put them on an external hard drive so that no one else can get them.
That's what you do?
I don't have nudes.
None.
Of who? Of myself?
Either.
I mean, I don't have nudes nudes like that. Like I don't have sexually suggestive nudes. I have like a picture of myself to see like my progress for like weight loss.
Progress?
Yeah.
Yo, if I asked a girl for a nude, she sent me a progress pic, I'd be like, progress your ass up out of my DMs.
Oh, I don't send nudes to men. That's
no.
Ladies do not send nudes to men.
Never.
Never.
Mm-mm. What if you're in a relationship with a guy?
So if you're in a relationship, this is what I suggest. I suggest that it's like, if you want to take a picture of me, you have to take the picture of me, and I have to approve the picture.
What?
And my head, face can't be in it. You make it like a boudoir
Jack
photo
Dawson
shoot.
and Rose.
Yeah.
Titanic situation is going on here.
No evidence, no face, no case.
Wow, doesn't send a nude, and then if you want it, you got to be in person, seeing you already naked.
Yeah, take the picture.
And then take the picture. But the whole point of the nude is like a invitation. It's like a preview.
Nope.
It's the Nicole Kidman's prayer before the movie comes on at AMC.
Nope.
We come to this place to lose ourselves, to have an immersive experience.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
That's right.
No.
And you bust all up in your sheets. Yo, man.
I'm a grown woman, Jourdain.
I feel that, but
I can't have evidence because also I believe there's probably like a sex tape of me out there floating around on a VHS tape. We talk about like archive and shit. There's definitely
a real tape
somewhere out there.
Something that you got to.
But
put
I
in
was like under
the
18.
fast rewind machine.
I was under 18, so they can't show it because Tracy Lords out this bitch. If you don't know who Tracy Lords is, do you know who Tracy Lords is? Tracy Lords was a porn star who became like an actress, but she did mad porn, and then she was like, oh, by the way, I was not of age, and so they had to erase all the porn.
Everything.
Yeah, so you can't find any of her stuff. But Tracy Lords, she's an actress. If you saw her, she was in like movies and stuff.
Wow, think about being the person that finds out that later. Like the dude.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It was the 80s and 90s was a very different time. But also, I just want to clarify, the videotape of me, I did not willingly subject myself to that. I'm sure I was at a dude's house and he like had a camera somewhere on a bookcase, obscured. No, I'm pretty sure it was like probably like a video camera. This is going back some time.
You didn't hear the.
No, I didn't hear.
You didn't hear
but this, like after the fact, I was
like,
it's weird how he always kept positioning me in a certain way, and the lights were on. You know what I mean? And then I had to think about it after, and I was like, they probably videotaped me.
Yeah.
Probably, but I'm sure it's been like recorded over.
Yeah, he's probably got some like, Young and the Restless on top of it or something.
No, I mean nobody even has a VCR. Like this is like a VCR.
Right?
tape.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then that's fine.
It's fine.
You're fine. VCR. I mean, you might as well be looking at caveman drawings at that point.
Hello.
I think you're safe.
Yeah.
I think you're safe. Wow, that's a first. VHS tape.
Yeah.
Sex tape.
Yep.
That's throwing.
I mean, that's what. Listen, wasn't Pamela and Tommy's on a VHS tape?
Yeah, I mean that's back when you could go on a talk show and talk about your sex tape. You can't do that no more. Think about that.
No. Well, no. Nobody. People just have OnlyFans. It's not even about like the sex tape. They're just like, I'm a celebrity who has OnlyFans.
Right.
Yeah. Pay to see my taint.
That's right. But you're not going on Jimmy Fallon and having him slap the desk.
No.
As you talk about your $5 a month taint.
I know. But see, I think Pam and Tommy were the couple who everybody was like, of course they have a sex tape. Look at them.
Right. And that was a big one. I mean, that was kind of that shuffled in the era of the sex tape.
That was the first one.
Yeah, they put us on to the fact that you could actually film stuff yourself.
Oh, yeah.
At home. Because up until that point, it's like, we have to go to a theater. Mm-hmm. Or through a doorway with beads hanging down to get a sex tape. Yeah. But then they were like, you don't even have to do that. No. You can just do it yourself at home. This can be an in-house arrangement.
But look, see, exactly. You talk about nudes. Imagine how sexy that is. You and your partner get the bedroom all nice, the ambiance flowing, and you make your own sex tape.
What's the ambiance for you? What's going to be what's sex tape worthy ambiance? Because, listen, I got a duvet. I got 2 throw pillows. and a standing mirror.
Uh-huh.
That's base level ambiance.
Yeah, you need some candles. You need a mood light. Like, actually, you don't even need candles. Candles are passe. You need like a mood light where you can like change the color.
So you need smart light bulbs.
Yeah.
Hugh Phillips. Not sponsored. But
yep. A playlist. A nice playlist.
You're a playlist person.
Yeah. You gotta set the mood. Because you don't want to hear a bad song in the middle of it. So you gotta curate.
I never play music.
Oh, okay.
I never play music.
All right.
I just go into it.
Yeah, like, but you need a little. You don't like to fuck to a beat. You don't like to hear.
I make the beat.
Oh my gosh.
Then cheeks make the beat.
You got mad instruments around here. You don't need music. You don't like a soundtrack.
That's beforehand. Or I got this record player too. Sometimes I'll pick a record. Listen to something. Gets the mood set.
Yep.
And then
retreat to the bedroom.
Then retreat. But after that, it's like I'm not like, hold on, now let me pull up Spotify. And pull up my sexy list.
Get a little sexy list.
It never even.
Yeah. Also, if you're making mad noise, you don't want your neighbors hearing it.
No, I want them to hear it.
Oh,
I want them to know what's going on.
This is you gentrifying a building. You know these people ain't fucking here like that.
I want them to know that they need to be like, God damn. Yo,
oh my gosh.
That apartment on that floor?
Listen, I stopped going to a guy's house because I was like, this is not soundproof enough for me. Like, I can't. And it was like a studio, so the bed is like not that far from the door. And you walk out, people be like, you heard you, girl. I'm like, no, I'm not coming over here no more.
I think that's the signifier of a good time. I think that's mission accomplished to me.
I mean, it's a good time, but like, I'm weirdly private. Like, I'm public, but I'm also private. Like,
right.
I don't want you making contact with me like in the act of being like, I just saw you do something. I can tell you about it, fine. But like, you looking at me being like, I just saw you do that thing.
Right. So when you're on stage or a journalist, you're Chloé Hilliard, but in the bedroom you got a pen name.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's NDAs and a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Okay, I feel that. I feel that. All right. So when did you transition from journalism to comedy? Like, when does that come into play?
Yeah. So I was doing I was doing journalism for a while, and it was around the recession when Obama was president that I was like, I got laid off from the Village Voice. I was a reporter there. And then I started just freelancing, and then I ended up at Vibe magazine, and I was there for a bit, and then I left that to around when I was at Vibe, say 2008, 2009. I was like kind of burnt out. The journalism world was all about like stealing other people's content to put it online, because everybody was like, we got to get 30 stories a day up on the internet. That's when Twitter was like starting to populate. That's when like, everybody was like, it's all about the website, and everything was about like publishing articles on the website. And I was like, having been at The Voice and writing long investigative articles and working on something for like 3 months to all of a sudden being like, just regurgitate the New York Times articles and just post it on the website. I was like, this is not for me. And I wanted to transition into broadcast journalism. I wanted to be like a host or something like that. And so I took a stand-up comedy class to talk and be comfortable in front of people and be witty and fun. And I had a graduation show, and all of my friends and family came, and everybody was like, so when is your next show? And I was like, that was the finale. It was never supposed to be another show.
Right.
And then 10 years later, now 13, going on 14 years later.
Wow. Where was the class?
At the time, it was at Comics on, it was like 23rd Street or 14th Street, something like that.
You just looked it up?
A friend had taken a class, and he said, you should do this. And I did. I signed up for it. I took it. And we met like once a week, and you had a teacher. And
you remember your teacher?
Corey Kahaney.
Okay.
A woman comedian. Her name is Corey Kahaney. Super funny. And we would go up there. Everybody would do like a minute of material, and she would give feedback, and the class would give you feedback. And then at the end, you had a 5-minute set. You went up there and you did your set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anybody else in your graduating class is still actively doing it?
Molly Austin.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she and I started together. She was the only person that I remember that I can think of who's still like, everybody else kind of just fell by the wayside.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll weed itself out.
It's interesting because I think I did it and it kind of felt like, oh, okay, this is cool. Not like oh, this is hard. Like, it was hard getting into the business, understanding the industry, like getting shows, like that was kind of like tedious, and shows that you really wanted it. But like, as far as like getting on stage and talking and doing the material, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like,
yeah. Then, like, you know, after how long was it before your second show where, you know, you do your graduation show, it goes well enough to the fact that
I just started doing more open mics. I did a bunch of open mics, and it would be me, Molly, like she would go there and sign us up because I was working still, and then I would meet her, and then we would go and do like open mics, and then from there I started doing like one show a month, and it was like one show a week, then it was like 2 shows a week, and then the guy whose comedy class, the school, Manhattan School of Comedy, he moved when comics shut down. He went to Gotham, and so he aligned himself with Gotham Comedy Club. And then I kind of made that my home, and I did a show with him there, like a bringer show, which is when you are a new comic, you gotta bring like 10-15 people in order to get stage time.
they say you want to get up here, pad the room, and then we'll give you some stage time.
Maybe. And if this guy, if you didn't bring like 10 people, he would cut your time. So it would be like, oh, you only brought like 4 people, you're gonna do 3.5 minutes.
The club I started in, they would make you pay the difference.
Oh no.
No. It's like, oh, you don't have 5 people? Well, that's 5 a pop, so $25.
Damn, that's crazy. It's a racket. So so he did a show at Gotham, and the selling point was like, if you do the show at Gotham, the owner is going to come and watch you. And so I was like, yeah, I would love to get feedback from the owner of Gotham Comedy Club. And so I did the show, and at the end, you know, he took us to the green room one by one, and he talked to us, and he had notes and everything. And he was like, I really like this joke. This is really funny, blah, blah, blah. He was like, how long have you been doing it? I was like, 7 months. He was like, what?
Right.
7 months? You need, this is your home club. I want you here all the time. And then I started like hosting, and then featuring, and then being there all the time, like all the time.
Wow.
And then that's how I got better, because I started hosting those bringer shows, which was like a 2.5-hour show damn near. And so, you know, just getting on stage, somebody bomb, get up there, somebody jump the light, get off fast, you got to run up there and bring the energy up, you know, like, so I did all of that. And then 3 years into stand-up, I did Last Comic Standing. I made it to the quarterfinals. No, semifinals. No, sorry.
Wait, we're going too fast. 3 years into stand-up.
3 years into stand-up.
You're doing Last Comic Standing.
I was on the reboot of Last Comic Standing.
Who's hosting?
JB Smooth.
Okay, so JB Smooth is hosting.
Yep. And so speaking about putting it on, JB Smooth was hosting, and I made it to the semifinals. I was like one of the semifinalists, right? I think it was like the top 25, I don't know, whatever it is. And Wanda Sykes was the producer on the show, so I met her when I was working on Last Comic Standing. And then her and her producing partner, we stayed in touch. Fast forward a couple years, 2017, they hit me up and was like, hey, we're working on a sketch show idea, like, would you like to come write on this show? So I go to LA, I work on the show for like a week. I'm there for a week in 2017, and then, or 2 weeks, whatever it was, and then that ended. And before I could even leave to come back to New York, one of the writers in that room had referred me to another show, and they were like, hey, this show starts on Monday, can you stay for 3 months? So I ended up being in LA for like 3.5 months when I was supposed to be there for like a week or 2. And
what show was that?
It didn't go through.
Yeah.
It was just like I was working on a project.
But the checks went through.
Oh, the checks went through, yeah. And so that show didn't get picked up. And then I was like, I gotta go back to New York. I've been living out of a suitcase. I'm sleeping on an air mattress in my friend's like kitchen. I gotta go back. And
but do you feel at that time, you know, you're seeing people, I mean, you're 3 years, because you understand, well, at that time, do you understand 3 years in and doing Last Comic is not typical?
No, I'm weird. Like, I don't get hung up on like how big something is. I just say I'm here for a reason, and I need to believe that I'm here for a reason.
Right.
Because if I allow that to get into my head, then I won't be able to like seize the moment.
But you appreciate it still.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely gave me experience. And I also knew, I think, because I'm like naive in a way at that point in my career, that I didn't give it the weight that everybody else gave it. And to the point where like I had just started doing NACA, which is touring colleges around the country, and they have these conferences where you basically go perform and people say, yes, we want to book you, and so you can get booked out for like a year. And so I had to do a NACA national, which is like the biggest one.
Yeah.
The same time as like
performing for a bunch of college kids
yes.
that are deciding whether or not they should give you
mm-hmm.
their school's money.
Yep.
So a bunch of new adults
mm-hmm.
actively going into debt.
Yeah.
Deciding whether you're funny enough or not to come to Nebraska
to book you
to get $2,000 in Nebraska
mm-hmm.
and sleep in a shitty hotel and hopefully find your way out with a cab service that's around town.
Yep.
But you're at NACA Nationals.
Yeah, and it was the same time that I needed to go to Hollywood for Last Comic Standing. Like, you know, they were shooting people like. It was, I don't know if it was the audition process or it was like the shooting process, but whatever it was in production. And they were like, we need you to come here for this day for Last Comic Standing. And I was like, no, because I'm going to NACA Nationals and I'm not missing this because I can book a year's worth of work.
Money.
If guaranteed money. I don't know what's happening with this show.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I can't make that day. You got to have me come another day. And they were like, who the fuck does she think she is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
if a 3-year in comic was telling me like, I can't do your rinky-dink little NBC show that's on national television.
Yeah.
I have to go to NACA Nationals.
Yep. To make this money.
Right.
And then Paige, Wanda's producing partner, who I'm like, she's like a mentor to me now. Mm. She called me. She was like, now what's happening? Because, you know, by the time it gets to like the top person, it's gone through like, so they're like, she said she's not coming. So she called me like, what is going on? Because like, we know you, what's happening? And I was like, yeah, I have to go do NACA Nationals. Like, this is guaranteed money. I can legit make $125,000 this year if I do these colleges. I don't know what's happening with this little day rate show. Like, I don't know. So they was like,
about
okay,
3 minutes.
Yeah. And so they switched my days, and I went and did NACA, and I booked all these shows, and I did Last Comic Stand, and I made it to like the top 25.
That's some baller shit right there, dude.
Because, you know, I started comedy later. I started comedy at 29. So I've already worked. I've had lives. I've worked. I've had careers. So I know how to, like, navigate the space. And, yes, I'm happy to be here, but I also know that I work to be here. So I don't go into it being like, oh, my God, this is amazing. I go into it being like, I prepared my way here, whether I know it or not. I'm supposed to be here, and let me seize the moment. But I'm also not going to let it derail me from other things that I need to do.
See, yeah, I mean, that's an invaluable mindset to have, though, because so many of us as comics, everything seems like a do or die situation. Mm-hmm. Everything seems like the only opportunity you'll get. Yeah. So even like having Last Comic, and if something like that were to come up, 9 out of 10 comics would just choose one or the other and like just go with the bird in the hand. Yeah. And, you know, just have a damn near panic attack trying to figure it out because we feel like we can't tell anybody no.
Oh, I love telling people no.
Right.
I love telling people no because I already knew that I had an opportunity. What happened? Something.
That was my Amazon telling me something about the weather.
No, I just know that, you know, nothing is guaranteed, and especially when it comes to like entertainment and television, people love you one day and then they hate you the next. Yeah. So I needed to fortify my bank account. Because I needed to make sure that I could live. I can't live off of being on TV once or twice and getting eliminated. And also not even knowing if they're going to air my shit. Because it was mad people who were on that season with us who did not get airtime. Right. So you can't even use the credit because you didn't make it on TV.
Like, I was on Last Comic. We didn't see you on DVR. Mm-mm. We didn't see you in a commercial or nothing.
Nothing.
We didn't see JB, like, spittle coming out.
Nope.
Next come to the stage.
Not even in a montage.
Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, yes, it's ballsy, but, I mean, it worked out. And I still have a great relationship with him. And, you know, we do business together. And I can hit him up with questions about my career now that I'm living in LA and writing TV and stuff like that. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's just, like, it's like, commendable. Like, I wish I even had that much, like, just gumption to be like, nah, fuck y'all. I got this potential money to go make.
No, I mean, it's not like, fuck y'all. It's
I know,
like,
but it's just but there is, like, a confidence of fuck you-ness to it where it's not like, you know, suck my dick. Yeah. But it's just like, hey, I'll be back. Just hold it down for a second.
I feel like if people want you, they want you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And you almost have to like just like present that to, you have to make them feel that way.
Yeah.
Like you have to have that like air of confidence where it's just like, nah, I know y'all want me, so I'm gonna go do this, and you're still gonna want me to be here, right?
Or if you don't, at least I got this other thing. Like, I'm not at a loss. And I think especially when you do it like Hollywood, people are like, well, what does she know that we don't know? If they feel like they're comfortable with like dipping out,
it's all a trick.
It is.
There's such mind tricks to just popularity in general.
Yeah.
Because the same person that you would like sit with and just have a normal conversation with, like once it's, because it's all perception. Everything is perception.
Yeah.
So once they get, on to a different level than where they were when you were just sitting across from each other, then all of a sudden it just becomes like, oh, I'm in their presence.
Yeah.
And it's like a big deal that I'm hanging out with them now, even though y'all are just shooting the shit.
Yep.
5 months ago.
I know. It's all about the cool factor. People love to be around people who they think are cool.
Yeah, it's I call it like the apple theory. So if you go to a grocery store and you're looking for produce and you get to the apples and there's a bunch of apples in the bin, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll get one of these apples. But if there's just one apple left in the bin, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with that apple?
Don't want that one.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I'm going to the bottom. I'm like taking them all because I'm like, ooh, people touch those. What's down here? Oh, nobody found that one? Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, it's 7:15, so.
7:15, you gotta go. Oh, she's got moves to make. All right, so before you go,
yes.
With the spirit of the podcast, we like to pay it forward here. I want to know who you feel like is somebody, whether it's comedy, journalism, writing and television, because you've done it all. So who do you feel that the people should know about? Who needs to be put on?
I would say comedy-wise, Amina Amani, who I've known for a very long time. And I think it's interesting because we know people for a long time, but it's like the world may not know them. And I feel like she's someone who has a very unique voice. I think she's hilarious. She feels like everybody's friend. Her energy is amazing.
She's incredible to be around.
Yeah, she's...
Great laugh.
Yeah, all of that.
Right.
All of that. And I'm so glad that, over these past like 2 or 3 years, especially during the pandemic, that she's really like thrived and like come out of her shell. I mean, the shell of like wanting to proactively be in the business. It's hard to explain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah,
it's a thing of being like, I love doing this thing. And I think a lot of us, like, I love doing this thing, but now I gotta like do the business part of it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall off, because it's like,
it's hard.
The business part is a lot. So I would definitely say Amina Amani. I would say Sydney Washington. I would say Marie Faustine. Yes, I'm saying black women because we need to know names.
Please.
I think those are 3 women for sure who are, I feel like, working.
We'll put all their handles on the screen. And they're all fantastic people, fantastic comics, fantastic talents.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I definitely want to have them on here. They're on my list of people to have on here. So, but thank you so much, Chloe, for coming on the podcast. It really does mean a lot. And I think you're amazing. And please follow Chloe. Do you have anything that you want to share with people? Any road dates or anything like that?
Absolutely. I am going on the road. You can catch me at a city near you. I will be in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, LA, New York City, and DC, and more dates are coming. So if you want to go to my website, ChloéHilliard.com, all the tickets are listed there, and make sure you come to a show. Let me know that you met me on the podcast so we can, be friends.
That's right. All right, cousins. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.